Welcome to your forecasting tutorial on wind. We're going to be looking at both wind direction and wind speed in today's tutorial. Please feel free to take some notes in your weather guide, on your wind page, in the forecasting tip section. We're going to first begin with the wind speed. Wind speed is based off of the spacing of the isobars, these black lines that you see on the GFS. You can see I'm currently using an application called AWApp, which is going to allow me to draw on the GFS frame. So the spacing of the isobars tells us the wind speed. When the spacing is really close together, like you see in this storm system, they're ridiculously close, that tells me the wind speed is very, very fast. When the lines are really far apart, like down here, it tells me that the wind is very, very slow, possibly even calm in this section. So what I have to do is I need to compare the spacing of the isobars on the current frame of the GFS to the spacing in 24 hours. So if my current wind conditions are 10 miles per hour, I need to look at in 24 hours, does this spacing that I see here get farther apart, which means I take my 10 miles per hour and I decrease it, or do the lines get closer together, which means I take my 10 miles per hour and I decrease it. Now, depending upon how much the spacing changes will help you to determine your change in wind speed. Remember, the rule of thumb for all changes in forecasting is they change by small amounts. It's not going to go from 10 miles an hour to 50 miles an hour in one day unless you have a very, very significant storm system moving in. So typically you're going to be changing them by just a few miles per hour, either up or down, depending upon the spacing of your isobars. So that's your wind speed. Wind direction is a little bit trickier, and that's where I'm going to start drawing a few extra things here on our GFS. So let me pick let's go with, I think, blue. Okay. So the two things you need to think about is what is in control of the weather in that area or the wind. If you're looking for if there's any high pressures or low pressures in your area. Remember, in a low pressure system, the winds spin counterclockwise, so like this. I put my little arrow. That's a low pressure. For high pressure, the winds are going to spin clockwise. Okay? So on this particular frame, I can see that the low pressure is in control of the wind in Pennsylvania. Now, wind is going to go, in this case, counterclockwise, and the wind arrows go parallel or in between the isobar lines. So if I start drawing my wind arrows, and it's a little, I think I need to change color because it's blue over there. It's a little hard for me to draw them in between over here. That yellow is not showing up. There we go, that's better. So I'm going to draw my counterclockwise winds, and if the lines weren't so close together, it would be a little easier to put them parallel to the isobar lines. So I can see if I just kind of translate this out a little bit further, making those counterclockwise winds, and I extend this out to Pennsylvania, I can see my wind is coming from, if this is the north and the south, that the wind would be coming from the northwest. Okay, that northwest component of the cardinal direction. Okay, so it's always where the wind is coming from, not where the wind is blowing to. Okay, so you have to look at the position of the pressure system relative to your location. So because the pressure system is located off the coast, we're getting kind of that back edge of the storm, getting that low pressure and giving us those nice chilly winds since it's coming from the northwest. Typically, when you have wind coming from the north or has a northerly component, your temperature will also be decreasing. Hey, now high pressure works exactly the same way. We could replace all these arrows. Let's get rid of all these guys. And let's say this storm system out here instead was high pressure. You can kind of see my H there. You would do the same thing. You would take your arrows, you would draw them in, but this time they're going to be going that clockwise direction kind of going off the map here. It's a little hard to draw. So if I extend these arrows out, going in between the isobar lines, going in the air, right in our area, I can see my wind, well, this time's flip-flopped, comes from the southeast. Okay? So you always want to look for which areas of high or low are going to be in control. Now, let's say there's no high pressures or low pressures, even remotely in the area, remotely influencing your forecast. You are going to look at the trend. Where are the higher numbers, the higher numbered isobar lines in Pennsylvania, and where are the lower numbers? Then you're going to have your wind go from high to low, or from high to low, whatever the direction is, okay, and that will be the direction for your wind of that particular day. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on wind forecasting. Now that you've seen me forecast the wind on this GFS side, please use the information you learned to complete the Google Form quiz. Remember, this quiz does not count in Skyward. It's for practice to help you improve your forecasting scores. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.